Gardeners are the most hopeful, optimistic people because it takes someone totally future-minded to look at a piece of bare earth and get excited about the potential.
In a lifeless little seed, you're like, look at this little thing, and that bare dirt, I'm gonna grow a paradise here.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of Green Acres and our guests. These general gardening tips and suggestions may work for you, as well as those from alternative sources. When using any garden products or tools, read and follow all label directions. And learn how to make your yard summer strong at bewatersmart.info.
The Green Acres Garden Podcast is the podcast dedicated to helping gardeners hone their growing skills while we celebrate our love of plants. So whether you're new to growing or a seasoned gardener, you're sure to learn something new. Join the fun as we have conversations with world-class growers, passionate green thumbs, and professional garden experts from Green Acres Nursery and Supply. Listen every week. We'll answer questions you didn't know you had. Wouldn't it be nice if we could garden? Hello there, and welcome everyone to the show. This is the Green Acres Garden Podcast, the podcast for all you plant lovers out there. I'm your happy host, Kevin Jordan, and I love plants just like you. And we have an amazing episode. We have just the most cheerful, happy person that we got to interview this week.
Best guest this
It was
week.
awesome. Wasn't he great, Austin?
Oh, new best friend, William.
Instantly.
Yeah.
When we interview him, if it sounds like he's smiling while he's talking, it's because he was, yeah. Such a delightful person. This week, we got to sit down with William Fredrickson of the City of Sacramento. He's the community garden program manager out there. So if you want a community garden plot in the City of Sac, he is the person to talk to. So much so that he will literally give you his cell phone number to contact him to get your own garden plot. So in this week's episode, I think it's awesome, Austin, because there's so many people right now is the time to plant.
Yes.
Everyone's going gung-ho. Like I said, the energy in my own garden right now, it's like, whew, let's get after it.
Right.
I'm trying to tell the students, like, hey, this is it. This is go time. You go talk to other people. People are fired up
I love
to
that.
garden, to grow. I'm noticing my neighbors are out and about. Everyone's like outside a little more.
Good.
I'm actually just feeling like physically better.
Me
just from
too.
The sunshine's been out a little bit. We had a stop-go spring like we almost always do.
Right.
One day it was hot. And then I get into my car in the morning. I'm like, oh my God, it's freezing. So I have my heater on. Oh, no. At the end of the day, I'm like sweating. I've been working, sifting compost, planting, double digging, all this thing.
Yeah.
I'll get home. I'm driving home. I'm like, whoa. Man, it feels warm in here. And I realized my heater was still on. So now I'm at the time where, nope, heater's off, AC, we're in AC season.
Get that heater off. What are you doing?
That's almost a good way to know when it's time to plant tomatoes.
Oh, there we go.
If you're not using your heater, but you're using your AC, probably time to plant.
Here's your sign.
So I think a lot of people, like I said, there's so much energy behind gardening and growing and cultivating your own food for whatever reason it may be. It could be financial. It could be just quality. It could be just for your own personal, fulfillment and enjoyment. Everyone gardens and grows for their own separate reasons. But I think one thing that we're going to dispel this week is gardening is for everybody. If you don't live in a big home with a big backyard with full, south-facing full sun for your veggie garden, no problem. If you live in an apartment and you're used to just, gardening on your patio in a couple pots, that's pretty cool. But if you want a bit more space to roam, you don't have to be limited. And so I think William and people like William are kind of freeing people up and liberating just the citizens of their cities or communities to kind of, take hold of their own futures and garden. You don't have to be limited by your own personal space and property. There are public spaces that are open to the people, and you can hear from William. He's really passionate and enthusiastic about getting people out there gardening, growing, collaborating with each other. There's so many benefits. I don't want to step on the interview too much, but I just think it's one of those things where if you're a listener and you're like, hey, I listen because I like plants or I'm enjoying it, but I don't really have a big garden, or I garden just a little bit, but I'd always want one bigger. It's pretty cool. And this is from you.
I can speak to that.
Please.
I mean, I was stuck in containers for a couple of years. I didn't know about growing plants until I started working on this show with you. You've taught me so much, and
you've learned a bunch, dude.
All of the guests we've talked to, inspired me to grow. So I went for it with what I had available, which was limited space and limited sun exposure, multiple challenges, but still able to get some things grown and some things happening. I got to eat some of my own food. It was exciting.
And that's on the side of your house in containers.
I know. So imagine, you're always looking to improve. And I got to the point where I'm like, oh, I want to get into a community garden. So I talked to some people. I found out how to do it and I got in. I'm so excited excited. This is my first season planting in ground. I've got a really good plot, and I've got lots of space, lots of things going there, and I'm excited about it, and I want more people to be able to do this too. And what's cool is William is sharing that they've got plots available.
Yes, there's openings right now.
Yeah, so anyone can get in on the craze. So let's go ahead and check in with William, though, about how this program works and what it's like and what his experience has been. Kevin, anything else before we jump into it?
No, I don't even want to ruin it.
Okay,
William
well,
was so cool.
Yeah, William is the homie. We love William. Let's go ahead and jump into our interview. We sat down with William at the Green Acres in Elk Grove. Let's go ahead and check it out. Here we go.
You don't really have enthusiasm for a carrot until you see a carrot seed and wait 3 months for it to become a full, beautiful, juicy thing that you literally cannot get in a grocery store. I'm William Fredrickson. I am the Community Garden Coordinator for the City of Sacramento's Community Garden Program. I run the 22 gardens that are spread from the far north area of the City of Sacramento to the south area. I am a passionate, avid gardener, and I've been doing this for about a year. I've worked in the Community Garden Program for 3 years, but I've been running it for the past year.
Dude, well, congratulations, man. They're lucky to have you.
Oh, I'm lucky. The gardeners have been very easy on me in this first year, so I'm expecting them to be a little more whip cracking.
There we go. Yeah, the spring is coming. So you work specifically with the Community Garden Program and youth engagement. I love all that. I work with students, young folks as well. I think we need to get as many people out in the garden and growing. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Gardening is a fantastic way to increase physical and mental health, having people do low-impact exercises of lifting, stooping, weeding, mulching, picking up bags of soil, fertilizing. It's a great way of improving your mental health, spending time among plants, out in the sunshine, like making vitamin D, getting over your seasonal affective disorders, being outside. Perfect way to improve your mental health. And it's a great way to socially engage by seeing other people out in the space.
I think that is, the last thing you said, the social engagement, I think is one of the best things to be out in a community garden. Can you maybe quickly, can you define what a community garden is for anyone who maybe is listening and doesn't know?
Absolutely. So how our program works is we have plots divided into large and small size. We want to keep it accessible and open to as many City of Sacramento residents as possible. So we divide the plot fees into $40 and $80 with a $25 cleaning deposit to start. Anybody of any skill is welcome to come into the garden, so you don't have to have previous gardening experience. We will give you any information. We provide classes. In fact, I am currently running a plant spacing class as well as a what to grow in the spring and summer class. And also, as a function of participating in the program, gardeners are required to do 2 hours of community service per month. And the best way to get those hours is at our group work Saturdays. Each Saturday is a different area garden where you come out, do work for the health of the garden, either in the community herb spaces, watering and pruning any of our fruit tree spaces, mulching around the base of the fruit trees, cleaning any of the pathways. Those are open to the public as well, so the public can come in and do any volunteer time they want. And the gardeners all get to know each other, mingle, and learn how to grow from each other.
I love it. Yeah, thinking of the garden as a way to socialize and meet people, it's kind of incredible to think you could have a best friend that you never met who's just out in the garden waiting for you.
Yeah, and you get invested in their stuff. You get to see, oh, Angela has set up a zucchini on a trellis and is slowly removing the leaves.
Oh, yeah, vertical.
Yeah, exactly, right? She has taken this plant that would take up 2.5 feet of space and turned it into a 1 foot solid column.
I love that, and I feel like one of the best ways to learn is just to do something, but if you're doing it side by side with other people of varying skills and experience levels, man, that is priceless.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 22 gardens throughout the city of Sacramento.
Quite a bit.
Yes, that includes our newest garden, which will be opening April 11th. We have a total of 638 plot spaces.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if that number includes the new spaces at Wood Park, but I can.
And you said $40 to $80, and that's for the whole year?
Yes, we want to keep
it
as affordable as possible. And if an individual makes a certain amount of money, that's under $40,000, we can comp the plot fee.
There we go.
Similarly, we also accept any need-based aid, so SNAP, EBT, as proof of low income, so that those plot fees can be complicated. Our goal is to make sure that we remove as many obstacles to people having fresh food as possible, right?
Love it.
The best, healthiest food you can grow is what you grow yourself. So no economic status should be denied that just because they don't make enough.
Absolutely, yeah. We need everyone growing and gardening.
Yes. My contact information is at communitygardens@cityofsacramento.org. Shoot me an email. I like to have your address in the email so that I can place you in the garden closest to you. Since we have so many locations spread throughout the city, I want to make sure that people are closest to the garden so that they are regularly attending.
More likely to be out in that garden if you're nearby.
You come visit more often if it's closer to your house. I also have my phone number. It's 916-202-0560. You can get a hold of me on your work phone if you're not super tech savvy. Contact me. I run all the wait lists on gardens. As you can imagine, the garden spaces in the downtown area are the most impacted, right? People don't have a lot of space to grow. There's a lot of tall buildings that can cut into your sunlight. There's a lot of actual people with very little space to grow their own food. So those gardens tend to have a wait list. But gardens more in the periphery where the lot sizes are larger, like in the south area off of 76th Street, the Bill Bean Garden, we have several plots available open even now. So,
very cool.
So if you want to travel for a little bit, I can put you in a garden that's a little further away from your place of residence.
So it sounds like you're doing some trainings. Has working with this garden in this program, has that really upped your own skills and kind of perspective on gardening and growing? And if so, it's like, what are the takeaways for you? What are you learning that you're sharing with other people to make them more successful?
Yes, things that I wish I knew before I started. When they put the plant spacing on the seed packet, they mean it. So when they tell you, hey, put your tomatoes 3 feet apart, they mean it, because I have grown tomatoes in a jungle before. I have grown a sun gold that has gotten so out of hand that it has just choked out its neighbors and choked out other stuff. I have grown broccoli so densely together that it just...
They're all fighting each other.
Yeah, exactly. They're getting spindly. They're all trying to go up rather than going out and making a nice crown. So I started a series of plant spacing classes to tell you, listen, I want to maximize your 10 by 10 space as much as you do, but in order to get the best quality stuff, you've really got to put the broccoli 2.5 feet apart, or your peppers
in those rows, yeah.
Exactly, or so that they're just touching, like peppers just overlapping one set of leaves, holding hands, right? Like, I want people to know, yes, you can grow a lot in your space, and you'll get very enthusiastic about putting a lot in your space, but if you cut back just a little bit, you'll get better stuff.
I love that. How do you guys work on the soil in a community garden? How do you, because like for us, we talk about it every week, building soil. It's a lot of success begins with the earth, with the soil itself, making it come to life. And sometimes some of these lots and plots originally didn't have the best soil. So what are you guys doing on your end, or what do you see gardeners doing in the community garden to really help improve that soil?
My advice is always mulching. So we are an all-organic garden, so no synthetic fertilizers, no insecticides, no pesticides, which means we really cannot rely on synthetically produced fertilizers.
There we go.
But for weed suppression, for the addition and building of soil biology, adding mulch directly to your beds, either dead leaves from the wintertime if you want to harvest cheaply, straw, something like a gorilla hair product, totally fine. Putting as much mulch as you can down helps with your water retention, builds your soil quality, builds your microbial life. And then on all of our sites, we have composting available. So if you have any food scraps that you want to bring in from home, feel free to come bring them into our compost bins. We run hot composting, so everything brown.
It's cooking, yeah.
And all gardeners are entitled to harvest from the composting, so long as they don't abuse it. They don't harvest all of it at once.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, don't take it all.
Yeah,
That's pretty
leave
cool.
some for everyone else. We want to be community minded.
What have been some techniques or lessons that you've kind of learned from maybe some other gardeners that are there and growing, and things that you didn't normally notice or do before? Like, what are some new lessons you've learned from other people?
Oh, the things that people can do with trellises are fantastic. I have seen bitter melon growing absolutely vertical on a pair of cattle panel. Like, just the ability for people to train their leaders on any trellises, it's fantastic, right? You save so much space.
Especially if you have just one or two little plots and you're like, I want to make the most of this, catch that light, just go vertical.
Exactly, going vertical. Then I've also seen a bunch of interesting stuff with, I'm not necessarily an aesthetic gardener, I'm a production gardener, I want to get as much out, but people who incorporate the aesthetic into their production, like you see nasturtium and marigolds all over the edge and they're like, not only is that blend of Murrieta or Eskimo marigold very pretty and striking in its plot space, but it's also doing the work of repelling the insects. So I'm like, oh, that is a smart production tactic that is employed well with an aesthetic tactic.
Absolutely. Yeah, it goes a long way. It looks nice, and then it also has other benefits.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Are people getting into gardening more than they've been in past years? I mean, I feel like we're at the cusp of something really great.
It is fascinating to see the demographics because it is everyone, right? Like young, old, across every culture, across every hue, race, the creed, like everybody, gardening knows no limits. And
it's a great equalizer.
They've all got the same drive and passion. And I have seen it in the interest and engagement. This is gardening Christmas right now, so my phone is absolutely blowing up every day with people interested in getting plot spaces.
It's awesome.
It's so fantastic to see people interested in their food prices. And I mean, some of that may be economically motivated, right? Like it's very expensive to get fresh organic produce nowadays.
I rarely buy a tomato from the store. Maybe farmer's market.
Well, and I mean, probably because you have known the delicious, off the vine taste of a perfect beefsteak, and now when you pull something out of the refrigerator at your local
just the texture, the flavor.
It snaps like an apple. Why would it do that?
Or you cut it and it's kind of like white on the inside and kind of pithy. I honestly grew up not even really enjoying tomatoes until I had one from a home garden, and I was like, whoa, I'm hooked. This is so wildly different.
That is the aha right there. The community garden space gives you the opportunity to grow varieties that supermarkets can't stock, right? Like things that wouldn't last on the shelf, things that weren't designed to last off the shelf, things that were grown to actually taste good, things that were kept for the quality of tasting delicious.
And harvested at the peak, right?
Yeah.
I love that. Just like your freaky peppers you listed. It's like there's always something new and interesting to explore. And I love the idea of gardening, and then the next garden plot next to you is another family or another person, and they're using that space 1,000% different than you are in the same space, just a few feet over. That's pretty cool. And you mentioned as we were getting started, it's like you've been exposed to different fruits and different vegetables that you never. I love that about being in the garden and sharing it with other people. Can you talk a little bit about that? Yeah,
absolutely. So seeing the way people just interact with the space, seeing the way people lay out their spaces differently. Some people come from cultures where you plant in a line and then you just completely flood an area, and that produces an effective, excellent crop of a monoculture. But then some people are introduced to the combination of aesthetic and food production.
Like some square foot gardening where they're really packing them in. And
exactly. Being able to have the diversity and spacing. And then some people are not even in a food production mindset. Some people just want to see pollinators come in. At our MLK garden, we have a gardener named Chuck who has absolutely planted his entire space out with native pollinators. And it's so beautiful to see poppies and California fuchsia and everything, and yarrow just like in full bloom.
Oh, that California fuchsia, that thing will grow and spread like a
Yes.
wildfire. They're beautiful.
and we watch him hack it back every year, and I'm
Yeah.
like, Chuck, is it gonna come back? And he's like, oh yeah, it'll be back.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love that. And I think every garden definitely needs space for flowers and
Yes.
space to lure in those pollinators.
And not even just pollinators, like our predatory wasps and lacewings and things that are going to be naturally controlling our garden pests.
So, William, you've already won me over. I love you, bud. You've got great information. I love the work you're doing, and honestly, your attitude is like a breath of fresh air. I really appreciate it. For the work you guys are doing here is awesome, but we have listeners, hopefully, all over, and that maybe aren't in Sacramento, maybe in different states, different countries, hopefully. How can other people reach out or encourage either their local politicians, their local city governments? How do folks outside of our area, how do they connect with community gardening?
I would go through your local parks department. I would go to city council meetings and I would ask for an amenity upgrade to your local parks district. And that can be either through your county parks program or through the city that you're nearby. Politicians will respond to you if you talk to them, right? Like, they are listening and they want to help increase the amenities and attract people into the city, and community gardening is a way to do that, right? It is a very attractive and valuable resource for the community. It makes people healthier and happier and more connected.
I think that's pretty cool, because I think a lot of people, I know I've driven past lots when I grew up, they were empty lots for a long time, and now those lot spaces are being renovated into community gardens. I'm seeing pop up all over. I think it's pretty cool. I think a lot of people don't realize when they see these places, it's like, it's for them. It's for all of us.
Yeah.
So what would be your recommendation to people who are just driving around, they're wanting a space, but maybe they feel like an outsider, like, oh, that garden's for other people, it's not for us. What would you say to that person?
Come in. I have my number and email posted on the front of every garden, because if you are even the slightest bit curious about what it might be to be a gardener, you should do it. You should just try it for a season. It is something that you can get hooked on. It is truly addictive, and it will improve. Gardeners are the most positive, embracing, loving, optimistic people that I have ever met. And it is.
Well, thank you.
I
agree.
And I've loved every minute of this interview. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, William, I got to say, I've loved this conversation, and I really respect and appreciate the work you're doing, the work of your colleagues. I think we absolutely need more of this everywhere. We need more people growing, gardening, producing food and flowers for all those other reasons, man. It's so wonderful that you're doing this. So thank you, man. I tip my straw hat to you, and hopefully we'll have you back in the future to talk more gardening.
I would love to come back. Love talking about the program. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we are back from our interview with William. Big thank you to William. And then if you're listening and inspired, I encourage you, go for it. Take that leap. Get yourself a plot. Contact William. He is eager to speak with anyone who reaches out, and he's willing to work with you to get you in on a spot that's going to work for you. And I think, the potential for greatness is there. You just got to go for it. Kevin, what did you think of sitting down with William?
I loved it. He was so chipper and just peaceful,
good
and
vibes.
I loved it. I think we need more of that energy. He's a young guy, and I think he's going to do such great things to inspire people to get, open that umbrella up and get more people underneath that gardening umbrella. I grew up not really in the garden as much as I wanted to be. We had just very limited space to grow, and we grew what we could. But looking back now, I'm like, man, I wish I would have had like our own family had our own plot at a community garden that we could go travel out to, hit it up on a Sunday or a Saturday and do a little work, and then eventually get some harvest. I would have loved that. It would have been so cool.
Yeah.
And so I like the idea of going there, meeting people in your community. I know a lot of people, sometimes we feel isolated as humans. I think the community garden is one of those things that it's going to connect you with other people.
For sure.
All different ages, different cultures. You're going to meet people and learn different growing methods, the vertical gardening. You're going to see people growing plants from their own home countries, stuff that you just don't normally see or get to even try or taste. Mm-hmm. But at the very least, even if you don't even talk to a single person, you'll have a peaceful place that you can go cultivate something beautiful, cultivate something delicious, And I know there's so many people out there that are wanting to do that. So don't feel limited by where you live or where you're at, because there's a plot or space somewhere for you. And if you don't live in Sacramento and Williams can't serve you, then reach out to the people in your own communities and advocate for more community gardens. Yeah. Some of them might be on churches. Some of them might be at parks. Some of them might be privately owned, and so there's so many different options out there. So please, if you're further away, don't be limited. Also, man, there's so many options out there. So grow, grow, grow. And I think you might be surprised at how much you can cultivate in one of those garden plots.
Oh yeah, they're actually pretty sizable.
Yeah, right.
Pretty big.
Pretty good deal. So that's cool. So I tip my straw hat to you, William Fredrickson. And all the work that you're doing. I hope you fill all those plots up this year. And it sounds like they're on the cusp of actually expanding and creating even more.
I know, it's amazing.
Let's go. I mean, imagine all these empty lots that I drive past. They're filled full of garbage and trash and who knows what. And imagine those are now clean and packed full of people, individuals, families, couples, gardening, cultivating, growing beautiful things for their community, for themselves.
Some of the best use of our space.
Let's go for it.
Yeah.
It's less empty lots full of garbage and more community gardens, please. So thank you so much to William Fredrickson and anyone like him doing that work. We love it and we need more of it. To all of our listeners, gosh, thank you so much for tuning in every week. It's so cool to hear from individuals, people that we get to meet sometimes who are listeners, even my own family telling me about the stuff they're listening to. I love it. This is just the best ever.
It's time to share in our Facebook group too. If you've got cool stuff you're building, getting started, send us some pictures, ask us some questions. We'd love to hear from you. And give us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen. That really helps the show get exposed to new people that haven't heard it before. So that would mean a lot to us. But Kevin, go ahead and take us out.
So we may not just be the best garden podcast ever just yet, but hopefully we're on our way. And with our listeners' help, we can get there. So have a great week out in that garden. Please get out there, cultivate, garden, grow, plant, harvest, eat, repeat, and we'll get after it again. Until next time, garden friends, happy gardening to you all. And please never stop growing.